Hi all, and welcome to General Chemistry 1 online. My name is Dr. Lee West and I'll be your instructor. So something to talk about straight away is what is General Chemistry all about. So General Chemistry is a class taken by STEM majors, so people that are interested in science and engineering. And that also includes people who are interested in the medical sciences, such as dentistry, medicine, or veterinary practice. So they're generally the people that take general chemistry. It serves as the prerequisite to organic chemistry. You can also just take general chemistry because you like the idea of it, and that's completely fine. So, as I mentioned, my name is Lee West. You can call me Dr. West or you can call me Lee. I don't really care. I do have an office in the Library Science building. We are online this quarter, so that may not be so important to you. You can phone me and leave a message at the number indicated here. A great way of contacting me is via email, and you can also send me a Canvas message. Every day between 10:30 and 11:30, I'm going to be available for office hours via Zoom. And then on Wednesdays at noon, we're going to be having Zoom sessions that are focused on helping folks with homework and other assignments. So yeah, that's kind of like the formalities, if you will. Reach out to me whenever you have a question, and I'll try and do my very best to answer it as promptly as I can. So let's talk about the different types of assignments that you'll be having. Every week you'll be given some reading assignments, which are just sort of like things to read from the book. You'll make notes on these assigned readings using the Cornell system, and on our Canvas site there's a little bit of help with how to format notes in the Cornell system if you haven't done that before. And then with your notes, what you'll do is you'll submit a PDF scan of these notes to Canvas. So you may or may not have created PDF scans of written work before. What I suggest you do is get an app for your smartphone, something like a Chem scanner works well, and use that to create these PDFs. Now, we do have a few requirements for these uploads to Canvas. Your work should be neat and organized. We want a single file. Sometimes people will try and submit one file per page. That really doesn't work for us. You want to make sure that your pages are oriented correctly. That is, that you don't have any that are sort of like upside down or mirrored or anything weird. And you want to make sure that they're in the correct order. So, I would give this a go before you submit your first assignment. And I've created like a dummy assignment where you can kind of practice uploading it as many times as you want to make sure that you've kind of got this correct. The other thing you want to be aware of is before you submit your file, have a quick look at it and make sure that that the quality of it, the resolution of it is sufficient that you can actually read it. Because if I can't read it, I can't grade it, and then that's going to cause you an inconvenience. The other thing that will happen every week is that you'll be assigned objectives through the ALEX online system. So you'll need to purchase access to this ALEX system. You can do that at alex.com. It runs about $40, and you will need this from week 1. So you'll need it immediately. And if you are unable to purchase this before or very near the start of week 1, then please reach out to me and we'll work something out for you. So every week you'll be assigned a bunch of ALEX objectives. These are basically homework problems. And these assignments, they get graded only for completion. So if you complete the assignment, you get your points. And you can actually attempt every question that's presented to you as many times as you want. You get instant feedback whether you got it correct or not. But I do kind of want to give you a warning. Every objective, and generally there's 10 to 20 objectives. To complete an objective, or to complete a topic as they're called in ALEX, you have to complete 3 questions correctly. So, if you do this without making any mistakes, you're looking at about 30 to 60 homework problems a week. Now, if you do the kind of, bad practice of attempting these before you've spent any time trying to understand the content, it can take you a long time to get 30 questions correct, because you just keep getting them wrong again and again and again. So these objectives can be a really big time sink if you're not really prepared for them. So keep that in mind. Make certain that you understand the content before you get too bogged down in the objectives. And if you're finding that the objectives are taking a really long time, it's probably an indication that you need to go back and kind of have another look at the book or watch a video that I've posted. You're also going to do quizzes via the ALEX system. So you'll enter your answers into ALEX, but more importantly is that you will upload a PDF scan of your work to Canvas within 15 minutes of completing the quiz on ALEX. So as you're doing the quiz on ALEX, you'll just be writing out your work as you conventionally would for a quiz in class. And then you'll hopefully will have some neatly organized work that for the quiz with each question in order, and your work is kind of legible to me. And this is actually really important because ALEX is terrible at assigning partial credit for quizzes. So I need to be able to see your work in order to be able to grade your quiz. And so if you don't upload this PDF scan of your work, you're going to generally do pretty poorly on these quizzes, because I can't assign you any partial credit. And like I said, ALEX does a really bad job of grading your work. So most weeks, except for when we don't have tests, you'll also have a lab. And so what are labs? Labs in an online environment are problem sets focused around a particular scenario. And they almost always involve the analysis and interpretation of experimental data. So sometimes the experimental data are qualitative observations, so things like color changes, and often they are numerical data like temperature or time and things like that. So you'll work through these labs, and then you'll upload a PDF scan of your work again to Canvas. Now, it's really easy to get on the wrong track with these labs, and I strongly recommend that you submit a draft of your lab each week to me for review before you kind of put your final one up onto Canvas, because yeah, these labs are worth a couple of percentage points each. So I think they're greater than 2% per lab. There's 8 of them, and they're worth a total of 20%. You want to be aware that these guys are, significant. And the idea is that, it's going to take a little while to get 4 points for them. You don't want to be getting like half points on these guys because that's going to really hit your grade hard. Okay, there are 3 tests. About every 3 weeks they come up. They're going to also be administered through the ALEX system. And again, just like our quizzes, in addition to submitting your answers on ALEX, you'll also upload a PDF scan and showing your work. And that scan, again, needs to be submitted within 15 minutes of completing the test on ALEX. So ALEX will give me a time date as to when you finalized the test, and then that PDF, when you upload it to Canvas, that will have a time date on it as well. So I'll be looking to see whether they are within 15 minutes of each other. So a test might have maybe at most it might have, say, 10 pages of notes that go with it. So if you're worried about making these PDFs, you can practice scanning 10 pages with your scanner app and seeing if you can kind of get a PDF put together within 15 minutes. You really should be able to do that. And if something does go amiss and you miss it by a minute or 2, just send me an email and explain what happened. Okay, so there's really only one last type of assignment, everybody's favorite, and that's the final exam. And the final exam as well will be delivered through the ALEX system. So objectives and quizzes and tests, as well as the final, are all going to be through ALEX. And again, you'll upload a PDF scan showing all of your work in a kind of neat and clear and organized manner to ALEX. And again, you've got about 15 minutes to get that uploaded to Canvas. So that's kind of all of your assignments. Like I said, we're leaning heavily on the ALEX system. you need to use the 10-digit code that I've posted to Canvas when you enroll on Alex. So make sure you do that. So as far as Alex is concerned, a couple of things to keep in mind. You need to get the class code. Once you log into Alex, you're going to be asked to do this thing called an initial knowledge check. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and I recommend doing that as soon as possible. It's not for points, but it kind of calibrates the system to your individual status. So Alex is just kind of taking a little bit of an assessment of where you're at and adjusting accordingly. Once you've got the initial knowledge check done, then you're kind of ready to get going with your objectives, which we need to do, and then we have a quiz in the first week. Now, if you can't access, if you're going to be unable to afford access to Alex by the beginning of week 1, then please let me know, and I'll organize some access for you until you can afford to purchase it, or even if you need to have access paid for the whole quarter, we can organize that too. All right, so how does it kind of work? Well, the beginning part of the week is where you're going to be kind of studying content. So this involves watching video lectures that I produce, and it also involves reading the book and making those Cornell notes. So to make sure that you've actually studied the content, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making certain that you upload Cornell notes of the relevant sections from the textbook by Wednesday, 6 a.m. So I want to point out that all of our times for submission are 6 a.m. in the morning. So once you've kind of reviewed the content through watching videos and reading the textbook, then you have to practice applying that content to solving problems, right? And so how we're going to do this is through Alex objectives and labs. Now, the things that the objectives and the labs have in common is that you can, with the objectives, you can take as long as you like to arrive at the correct answer. It's graded only on completion, and you just got to kind of like work through it, right? It really just is practice. And with the lab, it's kind of a similar scenario. You can submit multiple drafts to me. I'll tell you where you're going wrong. I'll give you feedback. So it's completely open book, and you can get as much feedback as you need when you're practicing, which is fair because this is practicing applying the content. Your labs are worth 20% and your objectives are worth 5%. So you get 25% for the effort that you put into practicing applying the content. And then the big thing is that you have to show me that you managed to learn something during the week. So we're going to have you do some assessments, right, to see how well you mastered the content. So this is where your quizzes and your tests, and we only have one of these, the final comes in. So these assessments are due by Monday, 6 a.m. after they were assigned. So these are where your big points are, right? Because you only get one shot at these guys. You can, because it's an online course, use online resources and other resources to help you. But I'm not going to be assisting you with this. It's entirely up to you. So these are like harder, and as a result, they're worth more points. So in total, we get about, or what have we got here, 70% of your points are based on these assessments. So, between Monday and Wednesday, you're reviewing content. Between Wednesday and Friday, you're practicing applying that content. And then between Friday and Monday, you're preparing for and taking assessments. So every week is pretty busy. And what I would say is that the key to success is doing a little bit of work every day. If you try to leave everything until, this is due at 6 a.m. Wednesday, so you start at like midnight Tuesday, you're going to do a bad job, right? This is due at Friday at 6 a.m. and you start, at Thursday midnight again, you're going to get just overwhelmed and do a bad job on it. You won't have time to submit a draft. You won't have time to come into office hours and get help if you're getting stuck. So, like I said, a little bit every day. And I think I mentioned in the introduction that most students are doing, about 2 hours a day. So typically when we're doing this as a grounded class, you'll have a 50-minute lecture every day, and then most students need at least an hour to do homework, prepare for lab, write up lab and stuff every day. So, you want to plan for 2 hours sort of minimum per day. Some students spend a lot more time because they really want to get that 4.0. All right, so I think that's kind of it for this intro. Like I said, if you've got any questions, just reach out to me via Canvas, or email is probably the best way, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, guys, see you soon. Bye.